Live from Washington, D.C., Jay Sekulow Live. Phone lines are open for your questions right now. And now, Chief Counsel for the American Center for Law and Justice, Jay Sekulow.
All right, welcome to the broadcast. So here's what we've got. We've been contacted by 5 states, or parents in 5 states, but there's actually a curriculum in place in 49 states, the District of Columbia and Puerto Rico, more than 2,900 schools, more than 25,000 classrooms, more than 662,000 students. What I'm talking about is a program that has been put forward in the schools under what's called Mindfulness. It's meditation in the public schools. Now, this is not like a 30-second at the beginning of the day silent prayer thoughts situation, which the Supreme Court's held constitutional. This is actually an adopted curriculum. And in this adopted curriculum, and the way that it's set up to go, is that the students are actually given exercises that oftentimes reflect Buddhism. It's called Within Inner Explorer. Children are told to walk through this practice, practices that are really at the heart of Buddhism. Now, this is nothing against Buddhists here, but the idea. Could you imagine if the school district adopted a policy that said we're going to cite and every student's going to be required to cite the Nicene Creed at the beginning of the day?
And we got potential clients now in 6 states: New Jersey, Minnesota, Washington, New York, Virginia, and Colorado. In Colorado and Virginia, we're already very engaged, and we've already got attorneys out in Colorado and attorneys working with a Virginia client as well. Here's how it works. Your elementary school child is told in class to close their eyes and obey an audio recording. So there's actually an audio recording that tells them to clear their minds, watch their memories and emotions float away on clouds, and how to feel the love and warmth from the connection of the universe. And then the same audio recording, it tells your child to look inside themselves to reach your inner goodness and peace. And this is day after day, your child's subjected to this 15-minute, quote, mindfulness session that is very similar and based off of the Buddhist and Hindu practices. And again, I think it needs to be made clear is that the only way to opt out is to be put in the hallway unattended.
That's the biggest. Of course, the curriculum itself is problematic. Part of it also says your goodness maybe even your magnificence is what they are trying to get through this technique. Abby Sutherland's a senior counsel at the ACLJ. She's working these cases. What is the latest on this?
In one of the cases, the school's been very hesitant to actually present and provide the parents with all of the audio recordings.
So the parents have asked for the audio recordings, and what is the school saying?
The school has just kind of ignored the requests. In another one of the cases, they've hesitantly, and only after we became involved, turned over the audio recordings, which reveal many of these types of chants. Look inside yourself. Find the goodness within yourself. Things that are clearly antithetical to the Christian religion.
Yeah, I mean, here's the interesting thing. Could you imagine if this was, I'm just thinking about this for a moment. Could you imagine for a moment if this was, as I said, recite the Lord's Prayer mandatory? People would be going, with good reason, would saying this is unconstitutional. But here they do it through this. They don't ever use the word Buddhist. They just have this inner self, inner being. That's kind of the approach. But when these school districts, when you're saying they're hesitant, we've sent one of our lawyers out to a school board hearing already. There's probably be more of those. Are they hesitant because of what's in those audio tapes? Is that what you think it is?
I think probably so. I think that when more parents catch wind of what their students are actually listening to, and many times this is being implemented in the classroom 3 times a day for 15-minute periods.
Well, so 45 minutes of the school day
is spent in meditation. Students are encouraged in some of these cases to assume a meditation Buddhist pose. In one of these cases, the school mascot, they've printed T-shirts with the school mascot assuming the meditation pose.
All right, we've got a lot more ahead on this topic involving this curriculum. We've got a petition that's up so that when we go to these school districts, we can say we're not only representing the parents in that school district, but 100,000 citizens from around the country, or maybe even 200,000 or 300,000, depending on how many sign on. That petition's available at aclj.org. That's aclj.org. Let me encourage you to sign it right away, aclj.org.
It's very disturbing. Young elementary school students are being forced to participate in Buddhist-based meditation in public schools. We're being contacted by numerous parents of elementary school students from over a dozen states. Some students are required to participate in as many as 3 meditation sessions each school day. If they refuse, kids are forced to sit outside the classroom like a punishment. Indoctrinating young kids in public schools with Buddhist meditation is outright unconstitutional. We're launching a multifaceted legal campaign, including representing parents of these students, sending demand letters, state FOIA requests, and, if necessary, litigation. You can take action with us now. Sign on to our petition to stop Buddhist meditation practices in public schools. Add your name online at aclj.org.
All right, we're trying to get our hands around, our minds around, I guess I should say, these curriculums that are called Inner Explorer, Mind Up, and there's some other ones as well, that basically are teaching Buddhism in the schools, not for 1 minute, not a minute of silence, not a moment of silence, 3 times a day in some schools for 15 minutes. And by the way, if you don't want to participate because it might offend your religious beliefs, no problem. You could stand out in the hallway for these 3 15-minute sessions. I mean, so you get punished for this. I mean, this is the nature of what this is. Cece Howell's senior counsel here at the ACLJ. Also, we've got Abby Sutherland with us, and of course, Andy and Jordan are here as well. So, Cece, what's your reaction to this?
Well, just what you said. It's sometimes 15 minutes a day, 3 times 15 minutes
Which
a day.
Which is about what they spend on reading.
45 minutes a day. Talk about establishment.
Yeah.
Problem.
Yeah.
If you're going to establish a religion, it looks like Buddhism is establishing their religion. 45 minutes a day, your children are getting, totally tutored in practicing
Yeah, that's
Buddhism.
a big thing here. So it's here's what, teaching about, fine. Practicing different. Remember we had that with the 5 Pillars of Islam. Should people know what that is in a world religion class? Yes. Should you take on the name, a Muslim name, bow to Mecca and do all? No. Are you going to do the sign of the cross? Are you going to take communion in a school? No. Okay, so again, this isn't a student-initiated activity. This is a government-sponsored, government-controlled, inside the classroom. I like to see, the Freedom from Religion Foundation, what they're saying about this one. They probably give it a pass.
This is 49 states, D.C., and Puerto Rico that this is operating. Just Inner Explorer is operating.
662,000 students just on the Inner Explorer curriculum.
So, I mean, there's only one state we can find that's not using Inner Explorer. It looks like South Dakota is not. That doesn't mean, by the way, they're not using one of the other programs. Yeah, so, again, Alex, go ahead. You're on the air.
Yeah, thank you, and thank you guys for all the work that you do. I really appreciate it. I guess I would say 2 things. One, this kind of confirms to me that in a secular society that the United States would like to claim that it is, it acknowledges that it does need spiritual foundation. I don't think it's going in the right direction. And I guess my second approach would be this. I'm a high church Anglican, and so I use Benedictine and Ignatian forms of meditation and Lectio Divina. But, I'd think, okay, that doesn't mean I get to force that on a school or any other organization.
Precisely correct. Alex, 100% correct. No one's questioning anyone's individual religious exercise. What you have to question is a curriculum that adopts that practice, as Cece said, and inculcates this to the student without, first of all, here, you think not only forget parental permission, They didn't even tell the parents this was going on. And then when we got involved, as we've gotten involved with 5 states, and there's going to be a lot more of this, and I want to file State Freedom of Information Act. I want to know who's adopting this curriculum, who's behind this curriculum, and what the motivations are. You can find that out, and we may have to litigate some of that. That's fine. But the fact of the matter is, Abby, you look at this, the parents are only finding out of this almost by accident, is reality.
Many times, yes. In one case, the student was encouraged, the entire class participated in an arts and crafts project where they were making dragon glitter, peace dragon glitter. All those things are associated with the Buddhist religion, and it was in connection to this mindfulness program.
Yeah, so Andy's like horrified here.
Well, I am horrified. Families entrust public schools, Jay, with the education of their children on condition that their trust in the classroom and what will happen is not going to purposely be used to advance religious views that conflict with the private beliefs of the student or his family. That's from the Supreme Court of the United States in the year 2000. This is exactly what is happening with this Inner Explorer program.
Let's go ahead and take another call.
Yeah, right back to the phones we go. Peter calling in from Oregon on line 6. Peter, welcome to Jay Sekulow Live.
Hi, Peter.
Hello there.
Yep.
My comment is I'm listening to this program. I'm a 62-year-old veteran Christian.
Yes.
And this is nothing but yoga, transcendental meditation, Buddhism, repackaged up with Western terms to be palatable to the American people and especially these gullible children. I was in a live-in program with the Veterans Administration in 2016, and this is what they were teaching us. And I was forced into participating, I should say being there, present, although I wouldn't participate. And they said that's okay, but they made me feel shunned. They made me feel less than.
Well, Peter, take that now. Peter, how old did you say you were?
I'm 62 years old.
Yeah, you're the same age I am. So, okay, so let's now do it where you're 8 years old. And the teacher says this is what we're going to do. And if you don't do it, what's the penalty? So what happens when you don't do it, Abby, in some of these schools? What are the alternatives offered?
The only alternative I'm aware of currently is to stick your child outside in the hallway by himself, him or herself, without any supervision. And so the child automatically...
3 times a day for 15 minutes, if that's what the curriculum holds?
Up to 3 times a day for 15 minutes. And so what a child interprets at that point is, what have I done wrong? Why am I being isolated from the rest of the classroom?
I'm going to tell you something. We're going to get to the bottom of this, folks. It's going to be a multi-pronged attack. So here's what you do. First, those of you that are in, find out what is going on in your kids' schools. We got millions of listeners to this broadcast. Find out what's going on in your kids' schools. That's number 1. Number 2, if they have it may not be called, by the way, Inner Explorer Mind Up. It may be, there could be other names here, right? We'll try to get to see what we can find out about that, but there may be other names that these curriculums go by. We're going to then, if you contact us, we will then contact the school district on your behalf, dispatch lawyers as necessary. That's number 1. Number 2, we're going to do a State Freedom of Information Act and find out who's adopted these curriculums and how. Under the sunshine laws, you should be going to your school board meetings and find out if this, it's very simple. You're the parent. Go in and ask the teacher. I mean, that's the kind of the first line of defense here, Cece, is go ask the teacher.
Yeah, and that's every parent should be concerned about what public schools are teaching their children. Not just this guided meditation time, but I bet when they start looking, they'll find other things that are problematic. So I would very much encourage every parent to always be involved and engaged, and don't just assume that the public school is doing it correctly, because they're not most of the time.
All right, let's take some more phone calls. Paul calling in from California on line 1. Paul, welcome to Jay Sekulow Live.
Hey, Paul.
Hey, Jay and panel. My concern or question is, who are these teachers? 49 states, 2,900 schools. Are these selected teachers? I mean, if the parents aren't being told what's going on, apparently the teachers are. Now, do they have a choice, or are they put out in the hallway as well?
So here's what you have. You have a situation. I think this is the way you need to look at it. That the teachers are probably, and for the most part, are doing what they're being told, because the audio from this is not coming from the teachers. It's coming from the program. I'm going to play another one of those in a moment. But the teachers could be put in a very awkward situation here, Abby, because they could be being told this is what you're going to teach. This is the curriculum.
Right, and I'm not even sure. I'm confident the teachers are not listening to what's being recited before it's played for the students. Many of these are pulled directly from these program websites. So,
all right. So let's go ahead and play another. Do we have another one? Let's go.
When we practice together, it's important to sit up in your chair as best you can. And if you need to shift or move your hands or your legs to get them comfortable, it's okay. The most important thing is that you're trying, that you're open to practice in this way. That's called intent, and it means on purpose.
Go ahead.
So another quote that we've pulled from one of these audio recordings is, we have been learning how to watch our thoughts pass so we can disconnect from our thinking minds and connect to something much deeper.
Okay, Andy.
Well, this makes me sick. I mean, it really does.
I was just watching his face.
To be very candid, it makes me sick because what we're taking is the tenets of an Eastern religion with which I have no quarrel. If you do it in a Buddhist temple to Buddhist adherents, do it all day. But don't take these tenets and inculcate them in a public school to a child who, if they don't adhere to them, is banished to the hallway for 15 minutes 3 times a day. If we're going to do this, let's do some Christian teaching.
Oh, yeah, and that'll go over very well. Mind Up, which Abby referenced earlier, is the signature program of the Goldie Hawn Foundation, the comedian Goldie Hawn. Goldie Hawn is a Buddhist. Again, it's fine. It's a free country. Great. Practice Buddhism. Not in the public school, mandating that students participate. All right, we've got a lot more ahead on this topic involving this curriculum. We've got a petition that's up so that when we go to these school districts, we can say we're not only representing the parents in that school district, but 100,000 citizens from around the country, or maybe even 200,000 or 300,000, depending how many sign on. That petition's available at aclj.org. That's aclj.org. Let me encourage you to sign it right away, aclj.org.
It's very disturbing. Young elementary school students are being forced to participate in Buddhist-based meditation in public schools. We're being contacted by numerous parents of elementary school students from over a dozen states. Some students are required to participate in as many as 3 meditation sessions each school day. If they refuse, kids are forced to sit outside the classroom like a punishment. Indoctrinating young kids in public schools with Buddhist meditation is outright unconstitutional. We're launching a multifaceted legal campaign, including representing parents of these students, sending demand letters, state FOIA requests, and, if necessary, litigation. You can take action with us now. Sign on to our petition to stop Buddhist meditation practices in public schools. Add your name online at aclj.org.
Now, I mentioned to you that the Goldie Hawn Foundation, again, no disrespect to Goldie Hawn or her foundation, has been promoting this, and Goldie Hawn is well known as a Buddhist, but we also found information about the reason they're promoting this curriculum, and Abby's gotten this information. This is all the information, by the way, we're going to utilize as we bring these cases forward. Go ahead. What did you find?
So in 2013, when she's talking about pushing this curriculum into the public school system, there's an admission that, of course, we're going to have to change the names and some of the terms that we use in these practices so that we can secularize the mindfulness program, and so that people don't actually think it does derive from Buddhist practices.
But this is where the parents have to be engaged.
Yeah,
no
that's
question.
right. That's right. And then, I mean, so you got to talk to your students. So, I mean, we know in California, New Jersey, Minnesota, Washington, New York, Virginia, and Colorado, we've already had parents contact us, even teachers contact us. So if you're in those states,
teachers
contact. Go to aclj.org, put in contact. But let's be clear. We know that the one program, now we've named 3 of them, but Inner Explorer is operating in 49 states in the U.S. If you have an elementary school student in public school, except for it looks like South Dakota, there's a good chance Inner Explorer is being used in some way. Not all the schools adopt it, but there's a good chance. Ask your elementary school student today about this. Do they have this meditation program in their class? Because they may not tell you. If so, and you don't like it, go to aclj.org and let us know.
Yeah, and then you got to communicate with the teachers, or we can communicate with the school district. There's multiple ways.
That for you.
Yeah, once Cece, I think it's important to put this out to people. Once you notify us, we can take it from there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And we do this all the time in different situations. So this is not a situation where the parent has to take this on alone. They contact us, and we will put our attorneys on it and take care of the case from that point.
Yeah. All right, let's go ahead and take another phone call here.
Yeah, let's go to William in Georgia on line 2. I think this is a huge point, obviously. William, welcome to Jay Sekulow Live.
Hey, Jordan. Hey, Jay. How y'all doing?
Good.
Here's my thing. Two things really quick. First of all, realistically, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. If they want to, try to keep Christianity out of school, they should do the same thing with other religions and just keep it neutral. But the second thing is this. The way the lady's talks on there, she sounds like somebody that's doing some type of subtle hypnosis of some sort, to indoctrinate them into a certain Buddhist religion.
Well, let me play for you what they say. Here we go. Here's the voice, your favorite voice.
We've created this program to help you learn about how your brain and your body work together in concert and how that influences what you think and even how you feel. We call it learning from the inside out. The more you know about how things work on the inside, the easier it is to deal with all the stuff on the outside.
Reading, writing, arithmetic, spelling, those would be good. I mean, the problem with all this is when we've uncovered it, they're trying to use other phrases because the Hahn Foundation is saying, oh, they'll know it's Buddhism if we use those phrases, so let's change it. I mean, and this is now published. I guess you found this publicly. These were publicly available documents, Abby?
Yes, they are.
Okay, so there you go. I mean, we're going to get to the bottom of it.
Yep, right to the phones we go. Let's go to Pat in New Mexico on line 3. Pat, welcome to Jay Sekulow Live.
Hi, Pat.
Hello. How are you guys doing? I agree with what you're saying, but I just wanted to make a point that the school systems are just here in desperate need of something to help control major, impulsive, destructive behavioral situations. And I just think that they're just desperate, from my daughter who's a third grade teacher to my grandson who's in school where teachers at the end of the day are crying because it's so disruptive to the class and learning. And also I believe that they've decreased recess time so that, they need to get outside and release some of this energy too,
So I think, look, those are all really good points. And I think, again, for the public school teachers, I want to say they're probably being told this is what you're going to do. They're not, and now we're hearing from some teachers that are objecting, but it's this is a problem that the teachers are having. So let's be mindful of that, talking about mindfulness. So let's deal with this on the school board level and find out what it is. When it comes to problems with inside the classroom, there are other ways besides Buddhism to deal with that. And I think that's where it really hits the road here, and that to me is the problem number one. The idea that the school district is trying to figure out things to do, Andy, to help their teachers, all good. Adopting a religious practice is not constitutional.
I have no quarrel with the schools trying to channel the intellect of students in the right direction, to make them mindful of the fact that they have to behave in class, that they have to sit still, that their minds have got to concentrate and focus, but not by adopting the tenets of a religion which is disguised by these magical words, inner explorer, right effort, right mindfulness, and is really a religion, Buddhism. That's really what this is. It's a disguised attempt to promulgate a particular religion on the students.
Beverly on Facebook said it best. If Christians taught public school children to pray because it's helpful and can help find inner peace, they would be immediately sued. No question about it. No question about it. And that's what this is what you're really dealing with here. Let's go ahead and try to grab another call.
Yep, Lindsay in Idaho on line 5. Lindsay, welcome to Jay Sekulow Live.
I have two very quick questions.
Yep.
First, can I request information on the curriculum of my local elementary school if I don't have a child that attends that school? And second, I work for a government entity in Boise, Idaho. Should I be concerned that my agency is promoting a mindfulness program to all Idaho employees as part of the state wellness program?
Great questions. Number one, you're a taxpaying citizen of your county, so you get a voice too. You don't have to have students here. Obviously, it helps us for those parents that have students here, so we have a client that has a child that's being subjected to it, but you certainly have the right to find, and so this goes for everybody that's listening to the broadcast, you have the right to find out what's going on there. So that's number one. Number two, with regard to what's going on on a statewide employment level, state mindfulness or inner peace, you're an adult. You could say, I disagree with this practice, I'm not going to participate. But if you're a second grader, that's much more difficult. And again, I think it's important for our audience to understand, if the student doesn't participate, what happens to that student, Abby?
Well, the student is placed outside of the classroom in the hallway, unsupervised.
So parents, how do you like that one? And again, that's where I think going to the school board, Cece, makes a big difference. We have to deal with this on the school board level and maybe the state superintendent of the schools.
I think that they're horrified. A lot of these principals and teachers will be horrified when we get this out there. When we actually can get the transcripts, so you don't have to just listen to all the audio, but the transcript of what these kids are being indoctrinated with, at least 15 minutes a day, sometimes 45 minutes a day, and the syllabus. They're hiding that from the parents. Understand that.
Yeah. So we've worked with these school districts before, Cece. So really quickly here, we got to get the information from exactly what's going on in that particular school, because there could be all kinds of adaptations of this.
Yes, absolutely. It's going to be case by case, school by school specific, and absolutely, if a school board knows that the parents know and they're engaged, it could be handled pretty quickly at that level.
20 seconds, unconstitutional?
It is unconstitutional. When they say wisdom will emerge if your mind is pure and calm, Buddhist tenet, I say wisdom will emerge if you submit yourself to the will of God.
Well, that's going to do it for the broadcast today. You can be part of the team helping us on this case. Go to aclj.org. We've got a petition up. We want to be able to say we're representing concerned citizens from around the country. So there's a phone number on your screen, or simply go to aclj.org, sign the petition, standing with these students as we fight back on this curriculum, aclj.org.
It's very disturbing. Young elementary school students are being forced to participate in Buddhist-based meditation in public schools. We're being contacted by numerous parents of elementary school students from over a dozen states. Some students are required to participate in as many as 3 meditation sessions each school day. If they refuse, kids are forced to sit outside the classroom like a punishment. Indoctrinating young kids in public schools with Buddhist meditation is outright unconstitutional. We're launching a multifaceted legal campaign, including representing parents of these students, sending demand letters, state FOIA requests, and, if necessary, litigation. You can take action with us now. Sign on to our petition to stop Buddhist meditation practices in public schools. Add your name online at aclj.org.